There's only two of them, the other ones were confusing.
Yeah, you're in this one, Brian. Welcome everybody to the zoning board, February 23rd, 2016. My name is Marty Akins, I'm the chairman. To my left, board member Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Radell, Mr. O'Connell, Mr. Chin, board member Mr. Franklin in the back. Beside him, the head of inspectional services, Mr. Duca. To my right, the clerk. If you have a cell phone or a pager, could you please put it on silent or vibrate? Not to interrupt the meeting, you have to speak up. There's no podium or speaker system here. If you're going to talk, please step outside. First case, I have a letter to continue. Case number 16005, CPI Management LLC for 135-room hotel. How many people are here for that tonight? That's going to be heard March 22nd, correct?
Yes.
March 22nd. Do I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, regarding case number 16-005, CPI Management LLC for a variance, special permit, floodplain, to construct a 135-room motel on the premises numbered 1 to 15 Arlington Street and 22 to 30 Fayette Street in Quincy. I request a vote for a postponement to the meeting of March 22nd, 2016.
Seconded? Second. On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Do I have a motion to waive the minutes of the last meeting, February 9th, 2016, please?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to waive the meeting of the minutes from February 9th of 2016.
Seconded? Second. On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Tonight here we have a full house. I'm going to take a rough guess, since there wasn't many people there for hotel. 67's Billings Road. How many people are here for that? All right, why don't we hear that first? Case number, oh no, wait a minute. Are you anyone gonna speak tonight? Please stand up and take an oath. If anyone's gonna speak at all on any project, if you think you're gonna speak, please take an oath. Of course, anyone, of course, don't have to. If anyone is gonna speak tonight, raise your right hand and stand up.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
Why don't we hear that case first? Case number 16006 is the applicant and the representative here. Counselor. I know I took you out of turn, but I thought since most of the people are here, we can get them home in a reasonable hour. You're up, Counselor, right here.
First time for me in the new facility.
The new facility with no mic and no podium and nothing to hold your stuff. Good luck.
Mr. Chairman, honorable members for the record, my name is Attorney Jack P. Holborn. I represent the applicant, Onion Wong, trustee, Upper Billings Realty Trust. That before the board this evening, my client's application for a finding that a change of use from a dry cleaner to a restaurant and the change in the pre-existing non-conformity in regards to off-street parking from 13 to 20 is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. By way of background, historically, this building has been a dry cleaner, as long as anybody can remember. The building is zoned Business B. The building is 2,650 square feet. If this building, as is, conformed to zoning, it would be required to have 13 parking spots off street. Calculation being 22650 is 13. The proposal is for an 81-seat Asian hot pot style restaurant. In addition, there is pending before the licensing board a petition for all alcoholic license. It is not the intention of my clients to have a sit-down bar. It is not the intention of my clients to have a party room. It is just simply going to be a service bar for the patrons in the restaurant. In September of this past year, there was a community meeting at North Quincy High School that was held by Councilor McNamee. That community meeting was well attended. There was a lot of people that raised objections at that community meeting in regards to parking and traffic. We had anticipated that. In anticipation of that, we conducted an informal traffic study for several weeks prior to the community meeting. We counted cars twice a day at the Main Street parking lot. We counted them between 12 and 2, which would be lunch hour for the restaurant. We counted them between 5 and 7, which would be dinner time in the restaurant. And our informal study showed that during the day, the Main Street parking lot on average was 1/3 empty, and in the evening was approximately 1/2 empty, which was more than enough to cover the increase in nonconformity. When I said that to the folks at the community meeting, they laughed at me and they said either I was making up my counts, or they said you must have been counting when people were on vacation. Coming to the conclusion that the folks weren't going to believe anything that I had to say, we went ahead and we retained a traffic engineer. We retained Mr. Gillens here in the room. Mr. Gillens conducted a traffic study. I two copies of study for the members of the board this evening.
Is that what you have? Great.
I have Yeah.
One for the records.
Thank you.
I'm going to leave it to Mr. Gillen to explain the finer points of the study. I'm sure he'll do a much better job than I can. But the conclusion of the study is that in the target area, there's more than enough capacity to handle the increase of nonconformity, which is I would point out to this board that there is historical precedent for issuing a finding for a change of use from another use to a restaurant that's within walking distance of the Main Street parking lot. In 2004, this board issued a finding in decision number 0470, which was a change of use to a restaurant, and a finding in regards to parking at 413 and 415 Hancock Street, Quincy. Similarly, in 2005, this board issued a finding at 397 405 Hancock Street, which was to be a sushi restaurant. In both the 04 decision as well as the 05 decision, the case number for the 05 decision is 05045. Among other things, in the finding of fact, the board made clear that while there may have been limited parking in the area, that the Main Street parking lot was within 300 feet of these two locations on Hancock Street. I would also point out to the board more recently, in 2013, there was a change of use at 406 Hancock Street, which is the intersection of Hancock Street and Billings Road. That formerly was a retail store. It's now a Fuji Group restaurant. There seems to be some confusion in regards to whether or not there's a finding. My understanding from Mr. Duca that there is a finding, although I haven't found the finding, but regardless of whether there's a finding or not, the city allowed the change of use from a non-restaurant use to a restaurant use at that address as well. And that building is also pre-existing non-conforming. There's no parking at that building. I would suggest that our application is stronger than the ones back in 2004, 2005, what happened in 2013. Instead of being 300 feet away from the Main Street parking lot, we abut the Main Street parking lot. It's literally in our backyard. In addition, in reading decisions from 2004, 2005, it doesn't appear that any parking studies were submitted in support of the application, whereas we have a parking study that we've submitted that indicates, as I've stated, that there's more than enough capacity to handle the increase in non-conformity. In regards to my clients, their brother and sister, they have 25 years experience in the restaurant industry. They've previously opened 3 restaurants. Among other holdings, Chung Wan owns a very well-known Asian food restaurant in town of Cohasset. My name is Shui Shui. We've had it for 10 years. They've had a liquor license for 10 years. They've never had a problem the entire time that they've had it. When they bought the building in June of this past year, all of the dry cleaning equipment have been removed from the property. It's basically a box at this point. It's my client's intention to rehab the interior of the property. At the same time that they're rehabbing the interior of the property, they're going to be removing a threat of environmental contamination from the neighborhood, which I always think is a good thing, because we always worry about these types of things when we're talking about dry cleaners. I do have 3 letters of support that I would like to submit to the board. I have.
If you give me those when it's time for support, that'd be great.
That's fine. And we also have a petition signed from the city of residents from the city of Quincy in support of the application. In closing, I don't think anybody wants a blighted building. I don't think anybody wants an empty building. Nothing's happened with that building since my clients bought it in June. We've been navigating through the process of licensing and zoning. You're never going to have residential living there regardless of zoning. The previous was an issue with contamination. You can't have residential living. It's not an industrial zoning, you're not going to have manufacturing there. There's a building there, it's not going to be open space. It's a commercially zoned building. You're going to have commercial. That part of Billings Road, historically, the majority of it has been food and beverage. Food and beverage is done very well. That's what my clients would like to do there. It fits in with the neighborhood. I've heard the concerns, as I've stated back in the community meeting, there were many concerns in regards to parking and traffic. However, you know, that's not what our conclusion, with all due respect to the people in the neighborhood, both our own informal study as well as the study that was done by Mr. Gillen. I would also state that my law office is located at number 1 Billings Road since September 1st, 2008. I live in West Quincy. I come and go all times of day night from my office. Those that know me know I work many hours in my office. I did hear people back in September community meeting talk about double parking on Billings Road, traffic backups on Billings Road. And I mean, I've seen traffic backup at the intersection on Hancock Street, but you know, during the time my office has been there for 8 years, I haven't seen that. I also heard people say at the community meeting the Main Street lot is full 24/7, and I absolutely don't agree with that. I'm not just saying that because I counted cars for several weeks before the community meeting in September. As I said, my office has been there since September 2008. I'm by that area all the time, and I see plenty. I mean, there are certain days, sure, the lot is full. The majority of times it's full. Based on my experiences, with all due respect, I can't agree with that. I see plenty of spaces available there. That's basically our presentation. At this point, I'd like to ask Mr. Gillen to come forward and he can explain the grade.
Yeah, I just have, when was this completed?
Yeah, Jack Gillen, traffic engineer. I've been practicing in traffic engineering field since 1971.
Mr. Gillen, address?
As you can see at the...
Mr. Gillen, your address?
Is 111 River Street, Weymouth. Sorry about that.
When was this completed?
As you can see halfway down on the lot, the survey was done, the Saturday survey was done November 14th, and then the 3 weekdays were done on November 18th, 19th, and 20th, and was the 15th time.
Right, my question is, we get a packet, no one has time to read this in 2 minutes. Why wasn't this in the packet? we get a packet, you fill out your forms, and you give us stuff for your hearing that we can read. And my question is, why wasn't this in the packet? Pretty simple.
I think the answer is it was an omission.
Okay.
That's the honest
All right,
truth.
all right. Mr. Gillen, you have the floor.
Thank you. Right here, okay?
Yeah, that's
Right
great.
here, right? Okay, my name's John Gillen, Gillen Associates, been in practicing traffic engineering since 1971. I was asked to just take a look at this use as well as the parking in the area and to see if there would be sufficient parking. So what I did is rather than taking a snapshot one day, I thought it'd be more important to take 3 weekdays consecutive so it doesn't look like you're avoiding a day. And I also included Friday in there. So I did a parking survey, and what I did was I divided it into little sections so that the Main Street lot was handled separately, but moreover, the Main Street lot was stratified by parking rows, not just modules. So there'd be a zone A, B, C, D, all the different parking aisles, sections of the modules, and then Main Street itself was section E, and then we moved up onto Hancock Street, and I broke that into sections from Hancock Street down. The study area that I used was within 500 feet of the site. The Institute of Transportation Engineers parking study, the industry does allow you up to 600 feet as far as being able to walk from a car to a retail area, and we thought that the Flint area at 500 feet away would be a nice breaking point, and Hancock Street to the east, to the west, and Hancock Street was only 300 feet away. So that's the study area that we looked at. As you can see, I know it's, you haven't had the time to go through this, but the report does show that when we look at the weekdays, I kept those to the front of all the figures, so that's in figures 5A through 5C. That's the whole area. And the Hancock Street lot did appear to be pretty much at capacity from about noontime on until about 3. You can see on figure 5A that the lot itself was at 90% capacity pretty much. So we understand that you do have a peak period in the middle of the day that there are a lot of cars parked there. However, we also looked at the whole study area because people may park out the front of the restaurant if there's a space that's open out there rather than go back and maneuver through the lot. And you can see on figure 5B down the bottom of the page, the entire Main Street parking lot area, the whole area, was only like 3/4 filled around 1 o'clock, and from noontime till 2. So it never got above the 74% during any hour of the day when we looked at that weekday, when we looked at the whole area, not just the Main Street parking lot. And you can see that graphically on the following page, figure 5C, where we plot the occupancy with the curve against the spaces that were out there, the total would be about 120. So you'll see that it really never crossed above the 100 occupied spaces point. Now, we also looked at Saturday by itself on figure 8. 8A looks at the lot, and that gives at, again, 86% occupied at noontime, and that stays pretty much at capacity for the rest of the afternoon. You can see the 92, 95, 97% occupied. That's pretty much at capacity for the afternoon. However, on the following page, in that whole area, you see down the bottom of the page, the entire area, again, that's not more than 80% occupied during any hour of the day. You see down the bottom, the 38% occupied, and then ranging up to 5 o'clock, about 80%, and then dropping back down to around 78. The bottom line is, even on a Saturday, while we know that the Main Street parking lot is active past midday, there are sufficient parking spaces within acceptable walking area that would be available for this restaurant. So that's pretty much, I think there are a lot of people, a lot of questions. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much it.
So, I mean, what I'm reading, like between 4 and 6 PM, it's pretty well full, correct?
The lot itself, yeah.
Yeah. Any questions, Dr.?
I have a question.
Yeah, tilted this.
Well, first off, I'm going to the dimensional form requirement for the application. And it says here that there was, the non-conforming use of the cleaners required 13 parking places.
That's correct.
Okay, so what you're looking for, technically you're telling us you're looking for 20, which is only 7 above the 13 that are there.
That's correct.
Where are those 13 spaces? Are you counting Vane Street as the 13 spaces that were assigned to the cleaner?
That's correct.
All right, so now I come back to the traffic. If the cleaners has been closed and those haven't been occupied, that's 13 that we're gonna remove from there. Now we're gonna add 7 more to there, so
Right.
the whole 20 are not showing up there when you
Well,
study.
to
Is that correct?
To answer that question, I think I might ask you to take a look at figure 5B again. And you'll see that down the bottom section of the report, the capacity in the whole area is 131 spaces plus the 5 handicap. And if you look at all the ones occupied, which is the third row up on the bottom, you see occupied is the 55, 64, et cetera, across there. And then you'll see in that middle row, it says the spaces that are open, 76, 67.4, 34, 34, 34, 37.2, 42, 41. In essence, the over 20 was available in every hour of both the weekdays and the Saturday. Not that I'm talking to you spaces, open spaces of 20, but I just wanted you to be aware that there were over 20 spaces available in the whole area.
Well, that would be expected in general that there would be vacant spaces
Yeah.
in that area.
And that's within my area.
What I'm having a problem with there is that there's 13 spaces that you're claiming in that parking lot, in a public parking lot, for the cleaner.
I'm not, well, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm not claiming they're in any particular place. What I'm saying is, if we go and take a look at the zoning code, the legal test is whether or not the change in nonconformity is detrimental or detrimental to the neighborhood. So that is 7.
Oh, so
We're
you're
looking
not
at-
you're not claiming any occupancy of the spaces and they're directly related to the cleaners or the business. You're just saying that there's gonna be 20 additional cars.
No, what?
7.
7.
7 additional.
But they don't
20
have,
spaces.
but they don't have 13 to begin with.
No, exactly. They got what's in here, he says. He says, whatever this is, it is.
Okay.
I mean, is it right? I don't know, I guess.
Okay, no, at this time, no further questions. Okay.
Any other questions?
What's the reasoning for not taking any counts after 6 p.m.?
Because a lot of the demand went down, but there were a lot of people who work in that area. The jewelry store, some of the restaurants that had some people working, I think the luncheon counter and stuff like that. A lot of those, there's people, employees that work in the area, and you see them all leave just after 5. So that's why we didn't count after 6, is because a lot of those spaces became available after 6.
How many,
Go on.
how many staff members were counting?
Me, just me. Beautiful week.
You were able to count?
I'm retired. Yes.
Did you have a hoverboard or? Were you doing the helicopter taking pictures then?
No, it's, you
The
start,
attorney first said his count was only a third of the parking still.
I'm just telling you what mine is, and I'll stand there and give.
And I stand by, I'm not a federal engineer, I wasn't making up. But I did, as I said, I stand behind what I said. For several weeks before the community meeting, I did go twice a day, so it was easy for me to do that on one building road, I could just walk up the street. And I did count cars for 2 weeks, and on average, I'm not saying every day, on average, it was perhaps, well, no, not perhaps, it was 1/3 empty during the day, 1/2 empty in the evening. When Mr. Gillen did his study, he shared with me, as he's sharing with you, that his figures showed, at least on those particular days, because that's what we're talking about, that for the most part, that the Main Street lot was full. However, notwithstanding that, whether we go with what I saw or what he saw, even if the Main Street lot is full, based on the target area that's accepted by traffic engineers, there's still more than enough capacity to handle the increase, which is 7 cars.
But to answer your question, I have a clipboard that I set up ahead of time, and when I start at perhaps 10 o'clock, it's not a snapshot like every space to look at 10 o'clock. You start walking then, you know? And once you have it all set up, it's easy to keep checking the ones that are already occupied, but it is to skip them off, so.
When you're saying just under 100 cars, up to 120 cars, I don't know how you can get from the corner of Hancock Street down to the.
Oh, you can, you
With
can.
people coming and going.
You know what you do, like if you see 5 spaces, you know 5 spaces right in there, there's one car open, you're able to put the other 4 in where they are. I've done a lot of these in Brookline and Boston and Quincy all over the place.
No further questions.
Jen, any questions? Sir. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that'd like to speak in favor? Speak in favor? First call, second call. Counselor? You have something for me?
I do have 3 letters of support that I'd like to submit.
Sure.
For the record. Approach. I also have a petition I'd like to submit. Do you make copies of the zoning decision from 2004?
No.
2005?
Let the record show there's 3 letters of support here from Keenan and Benson, Coleman, our offices, Alta Corporation. I don't know where some of these streets are. But we will look them up. There's one petition with 22 names on it. Quincy residents. Say they are. There's another one here with 15. Another one here with 12, maybe you know that area better than I do. See that possible? And there's another one here with 15. How much is on that?
There's 15 on this one, 12 on this one. Bless you. Right.
58 total people signed those petitions. I don't know if there's any dual names in there. You can look at those. Is there anyone else? Third call, wants to speak in favor? All that part of the hearing closed. We have a letter here from the BPW dated February 10th, 67 Billings Road, case number 16006. We reviewed the above referenced project and have no comments. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Opposed or undecided, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. If anyone else is gonna speak, come on up so we don't have to keep wasting time to call people up. Just start a line. Name and address, please.
Nathan Knowles, 44 Ocean Street, Quincy.
Mr. Knowles, you're on the floor.
Thank you. First question to the board. What were the dates again for that study?
November.
Well, specific dates.
14th, 18th, 19th, and 20th of November.
And the times?
10 to 6.
10 to 6. So my first objection would be the times. And you brought this up. Regarding the times, especially for the evenings.
9 to 6.
9 to 6, all right. So but for the evening hours, especially for the restaurants, where I would guess they do the majority of their business, doing a study of the traffic there, only going up until 6 o'clock is not going to show you the full picture. I just took a ride up there this evening before coming here at 6:30, quarter to 7. There were only 20 spots available, and I'm guessing that we're not at prime time for our restaurants up there. There are 14 restaurants up there. The attorney mentioned that there was a decision made by this board to change of use for a number of other facilities there. But I would state that this board at some point has to make a decision on whether or not a change of use is in order to continue changing spots from retail to restaurant. At some point you run out of spaces, and I think we're reaching that point. Also, when you're looking at the number of parking spots that are outside of the parking facility behind the location, some of those I would want to know from the parking, from the traffic study, if those include spots that are down into the residential area. Having spoken to my neighbors in that area, they have significant concerns about the parking on Main Street and down Billings Road, which often get used by the restaurants that are within that 2-block radius. So those are the major concerns I have, is that the parking study wasn't done at a time that would show the significant use of that parking lot. And second, that they need to better identify the parking spaces that were in use. Because certainly some of the spots that are going to be used are going to be on Main Street and on Billings Road further down, which are residential, not the restaurant area.
Thank you, Mr. Knowles. Next.
Good evening. My name is Ali Shaughnessy. I live at 32 Essex Street. Couple of things. First, I applaud the efforts of the applicant to try and take an empty building and bring something in there. But I have to concur with Nathan in that I'm not a traffic engineer by any means, but to do a study that stops at 6 o'clock at night, that just seems a little, just not the full approach. I'd rather see it go all the way up, quite honestly, till about 11 o'clock at night or 11:30 at night. There's a lot of restaurants in the area, as you know. It's been switched from retail to the restaurants. I'm opposed to that because of the traffic, and you don't have to be an engineer to figure that out. Just go down there some night. And what was the weather? In November when you did this, what was the weather? Was it bad weather that day? Was it good weather? Excuse me, Marty, sorry about that. What was the weather like during the conditions? And it would be nice if the people that are here could read the same thing that, I know you got it late, but we'd like to be able to see the study as well, so that we could ask intelligent questions and be a little more concerned about it. But I'm opposed to this, so thank you.
Give it back at the end. You get 7 people probably.
Sure.
Read that, filter it, and I'll call you a second time.
Thank you very much. Next.
Ali Shaughnessy.
Hi, Brian McMahon, 63 West Elm Ave in Quincy. I was born and bred in North Quincy. I was there when they tore down the 6 houses to make the Main Street parking lot.
You got a blue shirt on?
It is. But, you know, I kind of question the usage of it. Case in point, I was at the barber shop at 1:30 today, and guess who got a ticket for parking on Main Street? All right, so, and the reason I was parked on Main Street was I could not get into the lot. And, you know, that's...
Today?
Today.
What time?
At 1:35. And I could not find a space. Now, I don't know if you've taken into account the number of handicap spots that are in the parking lot. I believe there are 5 or 6. Yeah, there's one over to the right behind Burke's too. And, you know, as well as the bus stops that are along the corner of Felton Street and at the corner of Lunt Street, there are 2 bus stops there as
One
well.
parking space out front, it's handicapped, it's empty right now.
Where's that?
It's right here.
Oh, yeah, okay, and that's it. But, you know, and that's it, then we're parked 600 feet down by the bank. So,
Getting out tickets.
and that's what it is. I, you know, I just kind of, you know, question as to the veracity of the actual study, because most times when I'm up there, you know, if I'm going to assembly, say, I usually wind up parking at Bank of America, you know, after their business hours. And very rarely can I get one on Hancock Street and as far as Billings Road, you know, they're right from the railroad tracks all the way up to very few of these places and the multifamilies that have, you know, come up in the last couple of years have driveways. And, you know, their tenants are having to park on the streets. So this is a continuing problem. And, you know, if we start contesting, as he said, residential versus commercial, now you're encroaching on the guy that lives there, and, you know, nobody's gonna be happy. So that's all I really had to say.
Thank you, Mr. Van. Next.
Hello, my name is Simon G. I live at 10 Main Street, Quincy, Mass. I'm here to show some photos of the parking hazards that happen. And this is in November of 2015. That's what my neighbor took, who's here behind me. But that's what I see on a regular basis, whether it be 6 p.m. at night, 7 p.m. at night, or 8 p.m. at night. But majority of the times, I'm at home, it's usually at night because I work outside of Quincy. But I come home with this all the time. When I'm driving home, you'll see double parking on Billings Road, and that happens alongside, obviously, even Main Street where I live. And that's the major concern. I feel like with all the dance studio and there being schools, you know, just less than a mile away, there's kids coming out of school, and you know, there's people picking up their kids from dance studios and such, and they're double parking because of the lot is full, and they're what's happening to us as a resident is that there's parking on the wrong side of the road, and there shouldn't be parking on that side of the road. So that's happening everywhere, and I can only imagine that happening throughout all the streets of Lunt Street, Pierre Street, all those streets around us. I'm sure there's probably double parking that's going on, and as well, people probably parking in residential areas where they shouldn't be. So that's my biggest concern.
Names. Next.
Patricia Long, Colbrox Flowers,
What's your last name?
Billings Road, Long, L-O-N-G.
Long. Oh,
Yep. My flower shop is there, and I heard him speak earlier about how after 5, there's less because the people who own businesses don't park in the lot after 5. Most of us don't park in the lot at all. The jeweler, who he happened to name, has 2 spots behind their building, and I have spots myself. And I can go to the flower market, get back to my store, and drive around 2 or 3 times at lunchtime, trying to find parking as well. So I have no problem with business moving in there. I'd like to see it, but I don't know where they're going to park. And I know that they say that the parking's there. I don't go over it. I don't have time to count the spots, but people are double parked on the street. So maybe they're not parking in the lot, they're all parking in the street.
Thank you. Next. 1 second. You want these put in the record?
That's hers, actually. That's
Yeah.
my neighbor.
Put them in the record, thank you.
My name is Chris Flaherty, and I own a two-family house right there in the corner of Main Street and Billings Road. And my tenants and I don't have driveways, so we have to park on the street. And it's just really tough to find a spot now. It's gotten to the point where I don't go out on Saturdays because I don't want to lose my spot. I can't find a place to park, and I come back. So I just wanted to let you know that it is a problem for residents.
It must be a horror show. Not going on. So Larry, do you want the color ones in there? Because this letter I'm not going to read in since you're here. I'm not going to put that into the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Pleasure.
Nice to be here. Bruce here, State Representative. I'm here tonight to support the residents and the business owners' concerns. I had an opportunity last September, along with Councilor McNamee, to attend the meeting at North Quincy High School. The meeting was very well attended. I'd say an estimate of maybe over 100 people were there to hear the plans of the attorney and the proprietor. Over the course of 2 hours, I think the residents grew more concerned when they learned more about the traffic and the parking situation. What I think this is not only a parking and traffic concern, but also public safety. We've got 28 businesses, 14 restaurants, a community center, 2 elementary schools, a middle school, a high school, all in this congested area. I had an opportunity to work with Councilor Finn, who's been doing a great job helping with Councilor McNamee's responsibilities to gather a little bit more outreach. And in all due respect to Jack Gillen and Mr. Milgram, we went to some of the business owners directly in the Billings Road area to show them a flyer and to just grab some basic information from the business owners. And the business owners, you know, these are well-established businesses. We're talking about Burke Seafood, we're talking about the Irish Pub, Joyce Jewelers. A lot of these directly abut, obviously, the area where their front door, they can look out and see the pedestrians and the traffic. The back door, they can see the Main Street parking lot. And I can tell you, even as Brian alluded to, we got a ticket. A lot of their customers are getting tickets. A lot of concerns were based towards street deliveries, hindering traffic going up and down Billings Road. Just all problematic from various times of the day. Additionally, in the Main Street parking lot. And even some of the businesses went as far as videotaping the Main Street parking lot at different times of the day, different times of the month, to show that it's consistently filled for their customers. So to add an additional 80-seat restaurant on that area, they felt was just not conducive. I do want to point out they weren't against a business going in there. They realize a business will eventually go in there. They just want to make sure what it is will be conducive to the area, will be the right development, not just any development. I'd like to submit this to the record. It goes from the barber shop up to the street to Vicini's in the corner.
And these are business people?
Yeah, those are business owners, the direct abutters who all share the same concerns I think the residents have here tonight. And the change of use was another big concern. You know, and I used to frequent that Cleaners, and I can tell you at any given time going in there, there'd be no more than maybe 3 or 4 people coming and going, dropping off, picking up. It was a much different use than an 80-seat restaurant. Personally, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I feel after attending the neighborhood meeting, after listening to the neighbors' concerns, after listening to the business concerns, I want to speak in strong opposition for this proposal. Again, I don't think it's the right development for this area. We want to make sure that it's smart growth and right for the area. And I base this off a lot of calls from my constituents and input throughout the last several months. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. State Representative. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for your work. Let the record show there's 21 business owners that signed this petition against. Thank you. Council.
Good evening. My name is Joe Finn. I'm on 15 Williams Street, North Quincy. I'm counselor at large. And again, I find myself in a unique situation of again, trying, and don't believe for a minute that I think I could ever replace or describe as well as he could, but Councilor McNamee. I did want to point out, there was one gentleman who spoke earlier that one of the things is prior, totally unrelated to this particular proposal, the concern with the parking on Billings Road has been present. I've actually had a gentleman who basically, totally unrelated to this project, described exactly the same situation, grave concerns over double parking, and real fear that a child's going to get hurt someday in terms of how people are unloading. Why? Because of the lack of parking. But in the unique circumstances I find myself this evening, I feel I have an obligation first and foremost to convey what my impressions certainly have been of what the interests and what constituents of Ward 6 are expressing about this. Representative Ayers did not attend, I did not attend the timber that Representative Ayers refers to, but I know there's well over 50 people there, and most of all were in opposition or articulating their opposition or concern at that particular point in time. What I also did was I asked the clerk of committees to go back and to go through, again, Councilor McNamee's emails and related to any emails that he received. And I'm happy to put those on record this evening if you'd like those. There's not one that speaks in favor. I've also included 3 that I've received recently as well. If anyone's supporting it, I have to be honest, I haven't heard. The same complaint or the same difficulty everybody has is associated with the parking issue in this particular area of neighborhood. And it's interesting because the complaints are not being made simply by residents. It's being made by residents, it's being made by businesses, and interestingly enough, and I think this is one of the great concerns of the businesses, it's also being made by patrons of those businesses as well. Again, as you consider, again, try to reach your own findings, I'm asking that you take very seriously the constituents' concerns related to the parking issues associated with the proposal.
Thank you, Councilor. Thank you for your time, and thank you for helping out in Ward 6. There's no council there. The city thanks you, I thank you. Next, anyone else? Here's the list here. I didn't count.
I just want to speak for 1 second. John Rutherford, 62 Ground Wall Road. This is about protecting the businesses. Brian McNamee, he used to go to the Irish. It's about protecting the Irish, protecting Berksey's food. That parking is for them. There's no parking. There's no parking anywhere in Quincy. No one is for this project. This is a total waste of all our time. So I'm against this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Second call. Anyone opposed or undecided? Second call, third call. Mr. Shaughnessy, you got a second call.
Thank you, sir.
You read the book already?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for allowing me to come back up again. I just briefly looked at the book here, and I'm no traffic engineer, as I already stated. I'm just a simple crane operator who's not all that smart. But just taking I cause traffic, yeah. Well, taking a look here, and the study has said here on the national standards that a lot is considered full when it's at 95% of capacity. In these particular figures here, it says that the lot is 88 to 90% occupied between noon and 3. Now that's not 95%, but if it was a stove and your hand was close to it, you'd be getting pretty warm and hot. It's awfully close to that 95%. Further down it says here, and maybe this is just the semantics of the words, but the study shows that there are a lot of long-term parkers in the Vane Street lot. And then it goes on to say that the parking spaces become utilized, another will open as quantified by the parking characteristics within the area. So it's kind of telling me that there's a lot of spaces that are full long-term, but yet there's a lot of spaces that are not filled long-term. So I guess I'm a little confused. Are they filled long-term or not filled long-term? Mr. Engineer. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I'm not well practiced at this.
You will.
We'll see. So that's just my quick look at it. I would say that I am opposed to this as well. And one other thing that I was just thinking of it too, that most of the businesses in the area, although not all of them, I mean the people that go to the Irish and stuff, are there for maybe 1 or 2 hours. But I'd say the restaurant style that's there, when the dry cleaner was there, you go in, you get your dry cleaning, you're gone in 5 minutes. Somebody comes into an 80-seat restaurant, presumably there's about 40 cars that are going to be added to the mix there, probably after 6 o'clock at night. And they're going to stay there, on average, I would think at least an hour. And if they're having a cocktail, they might be there for an hour and a half. So I would tell you, my guess would be that there is no room for this as a parking situation warrants it. great to bring in another business, I'm all for it. I don't like empty buildings, nobody does, but this is the wrong use.
Thank you, Ms. Shaughnessy.
Thank you.
Yeah, why don't you keep that one, I'll get another one.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Last call. Closed or undecided, call that part of the hearing closed. There's probably 20 or so on top of the other one, so, you know, there's like 58 on one and 48 on the other or something. Letters, so that's not what we're here for, just numbers. When I first read this, I thought about this a lot, because I'll tell you, my favorite pizza is right in the corner there. And every time I go there, 9 out of 10 times, I can't find a place to park to go in and get a pizza. So I go somewhere else, and it's just not good for the business because of the parking situation. I can't imagine the other stuff that's happening there. And at what point does this board, all of us, decide how many restaurants should be there and how many other businesses should be there? And to me, I'm gonna vote no, because I think we're restauranting it out there, and it's just, we don't have the room for the parking. We just don't have the room. Dry cleaners, you're in there 30 seconds dropping off, picking up 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. Perfect business if someone wanted to open it there. A restaurant, 81 seats, no, I just can't even see that, another restaurant in that area. So I'll be voting no tonight. Comments?
Yes, likewise, Mr. Chairman. I think there's flaws here because of the parking behind the building. I know for a fact that there's parking behind some of the buildings up there on Fair Street and off of buildings. Because you can see there's alleys up there and there's cars that sit in back there. The delivery people for the pizza place across the street, they park and they use the back door to deliver. If you had a lot that was owned by the restaurant that had 13 cars in it, or 13 spaces, and the zoning said 20, yeah, but I think using public parking as the overall target for this doesn't work for me. I also voted against.
Comments?
Just like you, I think, well, all of us, for the most part, have an intimate knowledge of the area, whether it be to travel through, whether living there, or whether having your office there. It just, everybody knows that there's an existing issue as of today. And in the study, it says that there would be a incremental difference as determined by the proposed change of use. And I don't think the area can handle any difference. So I would also be voting against.
Joe Palm, comment?
I just think more cars down there is not needed at this point. They have the first class. Voted against.
Good chin.
I happen to be familiar with the area. My office is on the corner, essentially of the Hancock building, so I have a direct view of the area. I've been there for 6 years, so I'm familiar with it. It's very congested. I'm concerned about the traffic and the parking. I'm concerned about pedestrian and vehicle accidents. They're happening more and more. So while I applaud your desire to use the space, I think it's the wrong use for that particular location.
Councilman Lublin, I'll give you the chance that I give everyone. It looks like the board's going to be voting it down. You have the call. We either can make a vote or you can withdraw without prejudice.
Without prejudice.
Can I have a motion to withdraw without prejudice, please?
Mr. Chairman, regarding case number 16-06, Alpha Buildings Realty Trust, Hung Ying Wong, trustee, for a finding to change the use of the premises from a dry cleaner retail to a restaurant on the premises numbered 67 Billings Road in Quincy. I'd like to make a motion to allow withdrawal.
Without prejudice, second it?
Without prejudice.
Second. Second on the motion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Further on tonight's agenda, let everyone that wants to leave, let them leave. What that means is he has to have a completely different change to bring it back here again. It can't be the same one. Only take 2 minutes. I don't know, is it?
I don't know.
I was just trying. I'm never on first.
You know that's just music billable hours.
Why don't we get back on the new business, case number 16003, Vincent and Kelly Garino for a variance to permit the construction of an addition to a single-family home, driveway to the service, a new garage, and a premise 103 Colonial Drive. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, I'm here on behalf of my good friend and barber, Vinny Garino, and his wife Kelly, regarding their proposal to do an addition on their property, their residential home on 103 Colonial Drive. I have on the board the site plan and also the architecturals, but they're in the packet of materials that were also filed with you tonight. By the way, we're also joined by the senior partner, Vito, who's Vinny's dad.
You cut my hair
support
50 years ago.
By the way, if you don't treat me well, there's
you're gonna lose your sideburns.
You lose your beard. Yeah, exactly. The property in question at 103 Colonial Drive is a 15,605 square foot parcel. It's a big lot, and it goes way back up towards the hospital. And the topography of the site is really interesting because it starts at about a 120 and it goes to about 142 elevation. So it really rises. There's some substantially difficult topography to deal with. And the house that's built on the property right now is elevated from the street. And there's a driveway that services a garage under the house to provide for one-car parking. So there's limited parking even for the existing house. The addition that's being proposed by Vinny and his wife Kelly is essentially off the east or the left side of the property, and it's going to really dramatically improve in the aesthetic quality of the house. It's a beautiful addition that I know Vinny told me he was dreaming about since he bought the home, and it will provide for an additional two-car parking garage with a new driveway that will service that garage, and then 2 levels of living above. It will expand the family room setting in his home and in other rooms. And it will also add a new master suite and bedroom and provide for 3 other additional bedrooms within the house. They have 2 young boys. As they're growing, they're going to want their own rooms and spread out and have a nice guest room. It's a real beautiful new addition to the home, and I think it's well received by the neighborhood. Vinny and his wife went through the neighborhood. They talked primarily to the folks that they felt were most impacted, their neighbors on either side and folks across the street. I know Mr. Cox is here. from the neighborhood as well. And there was a number of folks that have signed a petition in favor and in support of the proposal. It's going to be a great new addition to the area. The relief that we're requesting tonight is dimensional relief, primarily to allow for the setback on the left side of the property that will provide for a setback of 6.6 feet and 8.4 feet. And also, as I tried to do the calculation of the driveway, as there is an existing driveway that services the one-car garage of the house, and then the new driveway, I requested relief from them for the paving of the front yard to allow for relief of that as well. Although I'm not particularly sure whether or not it meets that. Vinnie's plan in the future is essentially to utilize this more as a walkway, to change the door underneath that goes into the basement into a standard entry door that will provide for real entry living down in that area. As he says, he loves the drums and he loves his son playing the instruments, but he wants them downstairs in the basement. And this will give him a great opportunity to kind of go in and out.
My only question is, you got a 24-foot wide home addition on that side, correct? And you're bringing it into 6 feet of the lot line.
Right.
Where those rocks are, where exactly is that lot line?
Rocks.
It goes to
The rocks go
the
along.
corner of my fence is the lot line.
It says 3 feet off the rock, maybe?
Maybe less, maybe 2 feet.
2 feet?
Yeah, because he's got.
About
he's got a
8'6" or
little
something.
extension.
I'm just trying to keep it away from how close you are to those rocks when you're going down to your neighbors, right?
No, further away. It'd be away from the rocks.
I know, I'm just wondering how far.
I never really measured it.
According to this, I don't know where the lot line is on his. I can't tell where the lot line is, you just see two property, you don't know where the lot line is. If those rocks are his or yours.
Yeah.
No, the rocks are his. Yeah, the rocks are on his side.
Alright.
That's essentially the
And, alright, so you got a, yeah, it's just gonna be a playroom in the other room downstairs?
Right.
Is that what that is, a playroom downstairs? Where you turn the garage into a playroom too, when you're doing this?
The basement will be made into a playroom for this.
Playroom.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's not gonna be a
Our music room.
And you're not gonna do nothing with that driveway, fix it up? So you have one driveway and not two?
The existing driveway, I think the plan, as you talked about, is to do more of a walkway. To turn it into more of a walkway and to change the garage door into an entry, a standard entry.
You still got a 12-foot pavement.
Yeah.
Looks like.
Yeah, the plan.
With a regular door and the pavement, it's kind of weird.
Well, I mean, I'd have to move the walls, to make it into a walkway. Because that side services my kitchen also, so I need some sort of a walkway there to be able to get into my kitchen, otherwise I'd lose that.
No, I'm not saying close it. I'm just saying.
Right.
Make it smaller somehow while you're doing all this construction, so it looks like a walkway and it don't look like two driveways in front of your
Right,
house.
right.
Which is, you're gonna look something like the neighbor's house on your left. It's gonna be very, very nice.
Right.
It's gonna look weird.
It will,
You're gonna have two driveways.
it will eventually be a walkway, because I can't really, I'm not gonna have any use on that side.
Right, then
I'm
it
gonna
gives you
put it
another
to a-
room downstairs too.
Right.
I mean, you wanna take a snowplow out of it. I don't know, just make it a room with a door, but
Yeah,
the driveways would look weird on that street going into that house. It's just, I thought you might have a plan, put this together and get rid of that driveway, get rid of some of the pavement there, you're adding 20 feet on the other side, right?
So he would certainly consider modifying the driveway and make it into more of a walkway and try to look at some ways to push it.
It looks like a nice home, you don't want, I mean, you're adding 24 feet on one side. Driveway. I mean, that's why council asked for a variance on the pavement. If you could take away some of that pavement, don't think you're gonna be selling the house soon at all, but, beautiful neighborhood, it's beautiful up there. But if you can come up with something to fix that, make it look a little better, two driveways. Any other question, the applicant? Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor?
Good evening, I'm Paul Cox. I live at 120 Colonial Drive. I've owned that property for 17 years. That is 2 houses down from the Marinos and across the street. I'm speaking in favor of the variance. I approve of it. I think it'll add a lot of value, not just to his house, their house, but to everyone else's property. They're great neighbors. I trust his judgment very much, and respectfully ask that you grant the variance.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in favor? Second call? Third call. Public part of hearing closed. Correspondence. We have a letter here from DPW, February 10, 2016, 103 Colonial Drive, case number 16003. We reviewed the above referenced project. Our comments are as follows. Specify how much impervious area will be increased due to the development. Explain how the surface runoff will be discharged and treated. 3, apply stormwater connection permit for the Department of Public Works before construction. 4, upon completion of this project, as-built plans showing utilities, building footprints, reference bounds, benchmarks, define a total site facilities, right-of-ways, needs to be submitted along with a digital file. The as-built shall be stamped and signed by a professional land surveyor. If any other further information is, please advise. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Opposed or undecided, first call, second call. Mr. Reno, you did good, third call. Your neighbors love you. I tell you, I've known your family a long time, and that has nothing to do with my decision, of course. What it has to do is what's going to look good in the city of Quincy and the buildings that are being built there. And I think if you clean up that other driveway area and make it look like a walkway, it's going to be a beautiful home, and you're going to enjoy it. And I'd say do it at the same time as you're building your addition and fix it. And for a few grand, it'll look beautiful, and you won't have tar all over the front of your house. So, seeing that, I'll be voting in favor.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I'll be in favor.
I'll be in favor, also in favor.
Before we make a motion, I have a letter here, a letter of support. There's 7 people that live on Colonial Drive, all his neighbors across the street and next door neighbors. And so they're all in favor. We'll put that in the file. Have a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, regarding case number 16-003, Vincent and Kelly Garino for a variance to permit the construction of an addition to the existing single-family home and a driveway to service the garage on the premises number 103 Colonial Drive. I make a motion to grant the requested variance with the for the left setback, the new driveway and paving, and our request to convert the right driveway eventually to a walkway to the rear, and to comply with the DPW requirements.
Second? Second. On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you very much.
Do you need any of these drawings? Set of drawings for your house.
Sure.
You have to have a few back.
Thank you.
We're not, really, when we're done, we'll throw them out.
Yeah, together.
Nice to have one for your house. Good luck with your house.
Be handing them to the contractors, thanks. Take care, Council.
Mr. Frank was in. Further new business. Case number 16004. Jakob Jokas for a variance, and I apologize if I said that wrong, for a variance, the existing single-family home was constructed by right in floodplain overlay district by incorrect elevation was submitted along with the engineer, 613 C Street. Council.
Mr. Chair, through you, members of the board, my name is Bob Hernandez and I represent the Jokas family, 1613th Street. I need to go back in history a little bit with regards to this property. They did not do any construction of this property at all. In fact, the people that did the construction back in 2012 got permits. There was a serious question of the elevation. The elevation was actually 1 inch to 2 inches below floodplain level. During the course of them building, I have to be disclosed to the board. They came to me, and they asked me to help them. I tried, they finally then took a walk. I had no further contact with them. And what happened, the Oakland family purchased the house. Their lawyer contacted me and asked, what can we do here? They purchased a house with no occupancy permit because they were below the floodline. I spoke to the building department, I asked the building department, what can we do for them since they're the new owners, had nothing to do with the construction, just saw a house for sale, and they purchased it. And there is a way to get a variance in this situation because they neither built the house, they neither were involved to build the house, they just bought a house that was between 1 and 2 inches below floodplain. We're asking the board to allow this because at this point, they live in a house with no occupancy permit. They purchased it, they won't document. Now, usually you have someone say, I've done it, made a mistake, I'm coming to ask permission for what I've already done. They didn't do it, right? They had nothing to do with it at all. They just purchased the house, and to be fair to them and their lawyer had contacted a number of times to pursue this. I was trying to get a hold of the builders, the people that bought the family, demolished the house and built it up, and they weren't able to help me at all, so I took it upon myself to help them bring it before the board.
And who did you hire to get all these new members and the right members?
They were submitted to the board. I will say, another disclosure has to be made to this board. The people that built the house gave a number of different numbers. They finally came down to the right number, but my understanding, in speaking to the building department, one actual person they used was out to me, I think might have been indicted or lost his license. So the builders had used a number of different people. The last person was a credible person, and it was an inch. Now, to be fair to the board, they could have been spending the money and got another engineer, but they didn't want to do that because it wouldn't be fair to them, and they didn't want to get in a situation that would present anything inaccurate to this board. So they're admitting that it's below floodplain. They did not do it. They're asking the board to grant the variance.
Counsel, I believe every word you say because you never once lied to us, that's for sure. You haven't. You've been more than truthful this time of asking anything. It's a tough situation that they're in. Can you get insurance in your house without it?
You get title insurance. So you get title insurance. You get
insure the house.
Yeah, they have insurance because they go through they went to the bank because the house is mortgaged.
Right.
But nobody looked at this. And what happened is when all of a sudden it popped up, and they were kind of out of luck. And they can go to title insurance now to try and get it resolved.
This is nothing like the guy who had 16-foot planks instead of 12-foot planks and didn't know, right?
No. This is a matter of an inch and a half. It's not that big. They can go through the title insurance. They can do all that. We thought it'd easy to just come to the board and say, again, because it's de minimis, it's not a huge difference. But ask the board.
So with this, we can get you an occupancy permit.
Yes.
Is that correct, Mr. Duca?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
I have no further questions.
No questions. The alternative is to tear it down and start over.
The alternative is to raise the building, and that's not expensive. To be fair to the board, we did ask, and I did reach out to the people before, can you just lift it up, and they're reluctant to do anything.
Just you got cracks, you got this, you got that, you got a lot of things. And the problem,
No further questions.
Even the problem.
Pure morbid curiosity, how did you figure it out?
That it was inaccurate, because the thoroughness of the building department, when the developers are doing it, when the family that was building it tore it down, they indicated to the building department that they were just going to do some remodeling. They got it in place, and they never got a permit to get it, so it created some problems. And then with the inspector, he went down to measure, and we realized, you're not where you should be as far as feet above floodplain. And they were an inch off, but then they came in with another gentleman that measured it, and they were above, and then it was below. And again, they were playing whatever they were playing. These people just bought it and just wants to live there. They're business owners, they just want to live there.
No questions.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wants to speak in favor? First call, second call, third call closed. The letter here from the DPW, February 10th, 2016, 613 C Street, case number 16004. We reviewed the above referenced project and have no comments. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? First call, step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hey, I'm Judy McGuire. I live at 599 C Street. They live about 3 houses away from me. And I just, I wasn't clear on really what, why they were here, and I am concerned because I also live in the flood area, and I'm a new homeowner. I think I moved in probably a couple of years before they have, even though I've been a Quincy resident for 37, 40
When they were
years.
building the house, the people that were there, tore it, gutted it and built a new home.
Well, they actually, it was a one-family home, a one-bedroom. They kept one wall, and they just rebuilt it.
Right.
After that.
They gave the wrong elevations to the building inspector on the building that they were building. So now they found out it's the wrong elevation. So we're fixing this with the right elevation, with certificates.
Okay.
That's all they're doing. They're not doing nothing to the home.
Exactly, no, I just
What
wanted
they have is what they
clarification.
get.
Exactly.
The guy who built it lied to the building department about where the house was, by an inch, yeah.
Exactly. Well, their house is very low. My house is, I think, higher than theirs, but I just wanted.
Hopefully it's an inch.
I'm not sure. I love the area, and I plan on staying there a long time, so I'm very active in my community.
Winter and snow and everything.
Thank you, I just wanted clarification.
Thank you for your time. Is there anyone else, opposed or undecided? Second call, third call, call up on the hearing closed. Now, I'll be voting in favor, and I'm glad that we can fix this. That's for the poor people that were there.
Likewise, Mr. Chairman, I'm voting in favor.
Likewise, I'd be voting in favor as well.
I'll be voting in favor.
Have a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, regarding case number 16-004, Jakob Jovis, for a variance for the existing single-family home that was constructed by right in the floodplain overlay district when incorrect elevations were submitted by the engineer on the premises numbered 613 C Street, Quincy. I'd like to make a motion to grant requested variance.
Seconded? Second. On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
It's a shame that we.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you for your hard work in getting that squared away. Further on to tonight's agenda. (16-007) 77 Somi Road, Realty Trust, Elizabeth Brown, trustee, for variance findings to construct a second floor porch above the existing enclosed porch in the front of the premise 77. Is the applicant a representative? Council.
Mr. Chairman, good evening. For the record, Christopher Harrington, my law office is at 21 McGrath Highway, and I represent Elizabeth Brown, the trustee of the nominee trust that owns this real estate. This house is being completely renovated inside and out. It was an older home owned by an older gentleman who lived there for many years, and it's been completely redone. Insulation, windows, all new systems, heating, plumbing, bathrooms, kitchens, everything. And what the developer wants to do on this piece of property is he wants to put a second floor porch directly above the existing porch that's on the front of the house right now. That porch is in the front yard setback. It's less than 25 feet away from the street. And so putting a second floor porch on top of that porch requires a variance. And that is why we're here. With your application, I submitted some photographs. On the first page of the photographs, the house on the bottom is 77 Suomi Road. The other pictures are other houses that are very close to number 77 that have similar arrangements with porches that are located above existing front porches. So it's not an unusual architectural feature in this neighborhood. Many houses have that same type of setup. So looking at that photograph in front of you on the bottom, there would be a door that leads out onto the roof of that enclosed porch on the first floor, with a railing around it, and a small area for people to sit. One of the reasons it's important for the developer is because that side of the house faces south, so the back of the house is always in shadow, especially in the winter, and so that would give a small porch area to sit in the sun in the winter when the weather's nice. So that's our request, is to be able to put a porch above that. It won't change the footprint, it won't change the setbacks, it won't change anything else on the house.
The applicant wants it, not the builder, correct?
The applicant is the builder, yes.
Oh, he is? Same person?
Yeah, the house is in a nominee trust. It's gonna be completely renovated and resold.
Okay.
So the,
I have no questions. Do you have any questions?
Just for clarification, the existing front enclosed porch, that was pre-existing in
Yes.
within the setback, right?
yes, it was. And it was an enclosed three-season porch when they purchased the house.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aaron.
No questions.
No questions.
Thank you. Does anyone like to speak in favor? First call, second call. Third call gone. I have a letter here from the DPW, February 10, 2016, number 77 Solmy Road, case number 16007. We reviewed the above referenced project and have no comments. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Opposed or undecided? First call, second call. Third call done. I'll be voting in favor.
Likewise.
Nice to make it favor. Okay. Have a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, regarding case number 16-007, 77 Sunomi Road, Realty Trust, Elizabeth Brown, trustee for a variance/finding to construct a second floor porch above the existing enclosed porch on the front of the property on the premises numbered 77 Sunomi Road, Quincy. I'd like to make a motion to grant the variance/finding that is required.
Seconded? Second. On the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Counselor. Further on tonight's agenda, 16008. Noel and Julie McPhillips are variance to add dormers to the third floor for additional living space in the premises of Whitney Road. The applicant counselor.
Yes.
Jackie.
How are you,
Nice
Mr.
to
Chair?
see you, Mr. Green.
Thank you. Evening, members of the board, Madam Secretary, Mr. Commissioner. This is Noel McPhillips, and he's here with his wife Julie in the back. Julie's on crutches. We have, is this Anna or Tara? Anna, Tara in the back, and Shane's asleep.
Good.
I find these meetings exciting.
I'm deputy offender counselor. You're not impressing this kid.
So we're here tonight because the McPhillips live at 52 Whitney Road, which is in the Quincy Center district of zoning district, and they currently occupy a one-family house. What Mr. McPhillips would like to do is raise the existing roof and put dormers on the front. We spoke to the Inspectional Services Department, and that qualifies it as a third story. In that zoning district, you can only have 2.5 stories, and that's why we're here for that roof. So we're asking the board to grant the variance to sections 4.11, 4.1.1, 4.2.1, the dimensional form.
So you're just putting dormers on to make, so you have more living space?
Yes.
All right, because it does go up like that, right in the corner house, right?
It's right in the corner house, it's right.
And the good part is you're not gonna be blocking no one's sun, the afternoon sun, you know, will be coming the opposite way. So I don't see it being harmful to any of your neighbors, so.
They have a neighbor here in, he'll have the opportunity to speak, Mr. McCarthy, in the back, and we also got signatures from neighbors related to the back record. Mr. Chairman.
Any questions?
You're holding the height of the roof right now, right? It's not gonna, you're not gonna raise the.
It said
The dormers are gonna be, but the roof height is gonna remain.
The roof height is right now at 35, which is the maximum limit for that area. And a belt and suspenders type approach, we thought we'd ask for that relief, knowing that, you know, we don't, it may be a variance of a couple of inches, but it's not his intent to go over the 35 feet.
You're just gonna keep 8 foot ceiling? You're gonna keep
Yeah,
it, right?
8 foot ceilings.
All right,
Yeah,
so
one up
whatever you
along
need,
with
an
10
inch or
foot.
two, that's, all right, we'll put that in there.
Okay.
I believe the commissioner has a question.
Commissioner?
No, I just wanted to express to the board, Mr. Green was in several times, worked hard to make this project a good project for his county.
You worked very hard for this board for many years. Really? It's a pleasure working with you. Now we're on opposite sides of the same side.
We're on the same, well, it depends on how this project goes.
There you go. I have no questions on what they're gonna do. We'll just put something like, if we, 35.6, so they get 6 inches to play with. They need it. Questions?
No questions.
No more questions? Thanks. Is there anyone that wants to speak in favor? Speak in favor? You know this guy. Mr. McCarthy.
Good evening, Chairman Akins, the board.
I live at, Dave McCarthy, I live at 48 Whitney Road, next door neighbors to know Julie McDonald for a number of years. There's a whole positive recommendation from my family, and I know from the neighborhood, they're great people. They have a wonderful family that's growing, and they could use a little bit more room, so I hope the board will give a positive recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Is there anyone else like to speak in favor? Second call. You ready? You in favor? Oh, whoa. You like your
I think
little
he meant in
bedroom?
favor of speaking. He's a heck of a baseball player, that kid back there.
There you go. Call that part of the hearing closed. I have a letter here from the DPW. We reviewed the above referenced project and no comments. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Opposed or undecided, first call, second call. Third call, I have, go back to people in favor. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 15 of his neighbors. I think we can put that in the record. And what he's asking for is not a lot. When I first read it about Dahmer's and being up, and I saw where that house was, that sort of made me in favor of that. Just for the west side. That you can really do a job on people when you start putting Dahmer's up that live next to you and it affects them, but you're not affected them, so I'd be voting in favor.
Likewise, Mr. Chairman.
I'm in favor as well.
I'll be voting in favor.
Because you got a good counsel here.
Yeah, he's good.
Have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, regarding case number 16-008, Noel and Julie McPhillips for variance to add dormers to the third floor for additional living space on the premises number 52 Whitney Road in Quincy. I would make a motion that we grant the requested variance with the condition that the building height not exceed 35 6 inches.
Is that enough?
Yeah.
Second it?
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the board.
Nice to see you now.
You want these? Do you need any of these? You want this place? Yeah. Almost now. Orange.
Thanks very much.
Oh, nice to have.
He's got a big smile on his face there.
New bedroom?
Promise them ice cream.
Motion adjourned.
He's looking at you, Jack.
All in favor?
Second.
Opposed? So moved.
He's so cute. Look at him.